that we spent with Shedeur, and what he's done throughout his college career is impressive. He's an impressive young man. He's a really good quarterback. Sometimes fit comes into play.
College football is experiencing one of the most polarizing yet fascinating storylines in years. And right at the heart of it all is Deion Sanders, the Colorado Buffaloes, and of course, the ever-present spotlight of Deion coach Prime Sanders. The buzz around this team has not only captivated diehard fans, but has also crossed over into mainstream media.
Dolphin fans are ready for a change under center after a dreadful start. They want Deion Sanders traded to the Dolphins. Should Miami make a new move, Ocho?
It's only week 1, huh? It's no time to hit the panic button.
Man, the fans don't care about no week 1, week 2, week 10.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now I'm part of the fans. I'm a true Dolphin fan. I don't think people...
Making them one of the most talked about programs in all of sports. The hype, the drama, the criticism, and the controversy, it all seems to circle back to Deion Sanders. Now the narrative is far bigger than just wins and losses. It's about identity, culture, NIL deals, family legacies, and how college football itself is changing in real time. Deion Sanders.
I mean, what difference does it make? He already, Shedeur, won the 2 damn competitions that existed and you still didn't care. You just want to go with Dylan, and it's not because. It is not because Dylan is the preference for Stefanski. It is because the culture in Cleveland doesn't support a black franchise QB long term at the #1 spot, drafted #1 or drafted 144. They thought they could pigeonhole him there, which was ridiculous, which means they don't know talent and they don't give a damn about it. They knew coming out of training camp, Deion Sanders was going to make it to the...
Has become a lightning rod for attention. Some of it positive, some of it extremely harsh. From his flashy watches to his clutch time poise on the field.
So I've been a fan for a long time, and it hurts me that I've never been able to see us have a successful season, have a great quarterback outside of Dan Marino. We've been looking for that position for a very long time. I thought Tua was the answer. I still think Tua was the answer. It's too soon to hit the panic button. Everybody can't be this superstar tier 1 quarterback like Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Everybody can't get that. But what we can have an adequate quarterback that can facilitate the ball, do what's asked of him offensively, not turn it over, and we can win games.
Shedeur has people talking nonstop. His critics say he's arrogant. His fans say he's simply confident. But regardless of which side you fall on, it's impossible to deny that Deion Sanders has made himself and the Colorado Buffaloes relevant in ways few thought possible. Before Coach Prime arrived in Boulder, Colorado football was an afterthought.
Mill is starting to swirl, man. We getting some new information out of Cleveland that the Cleveland Browns veteran players are about to turn their back on Kevin Stefanski. And is he losing control over the locker room? Now, we've seen this whole quarterback situation play out through the draft. We've seen what's happening in the training camp, seen what's happening in practice, and we've seen what's happening in preseason. Now, all camp long, there's reports that was surfacing and people in the media talking about the treatment of...
Barely registering in the national conversation. Fast forward, and suddenly this program is the epicenter of debate shows, social media highlights, and constant coverage. And Shedeur, as the quarterback and face of the team, is the figure that represents both the love and the hate directed at this team.
Cleveland Browns head coach Stefanski refuses to answer Shedeur questions about who's gonna get the first rep or who's gonna take this amount of reps or lineups and stuff like that.
We will change tomorrow.
Will you be here?
Yeah.
I'll see you here.
And you should have been prepared for all of this. Right when we saw that moment when you drafted him and y'all looked at this interested.
Let's start with his on-field performance because while people love to talk about his lifestyle, his jewelry, or his social media presence, the truth is Deion Sanders can really play football. Last season, he put up gaudy numbers despite playing behind one of the weakest offensive lines in the country. He was sacked more than 50 times, constantly pressured, and yet still managed to post impressive passing stats, showing composure that most young quarterbacks would struggle to maintain under that kind of duress.
Stefanski says we don't. Here it is, Ocho. Here's Kevin Stefanski not letting Shedeur run the 2-minute drill at the end of the game with the Browns. Let's take a listen to what he had. Yeah, he's like, Coach, let me get this last one. Give me an opportunity. Nah, we good. We're gonna take a look at
his accuracy, touch on deep balls, and ability to extend plays have drawn the attention of NFL scouts. Many now believe Shedeur Sanders will be a high pick in the upcoming NFL draft, some even projecting him as a potential top 5 selection depending on how he performs this season. But what sets Shedeur apart isn't just the numbers, it's the swagger. He plays with a chip on his shoulder.
This is what happens when you take bad advice. This is what happens when you listen to all the negative hoopla around a player and the public is the main judge. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to show up. We're the ones that have to purchase the tickets. We're the ones that have to purchase the jerseys. We understand organization, we understand tradition and all that other stuff, but ultimately, if you have no fans, you have no team. And the fans have spoken loud and clear about who we want.
Often flashing his luxury watches after big plays, sending a clear message that he's not just here to participate, he's here to dominate. This, of course, rubs a lot of traditionalists the wrong way. They say he hasn't won enough yet to be this flashy, that his celebrations are premature, that he's more interested in branding than football.
And I would say there's a lot of work that gets done when you guys aren't out there, believe it or not. But even that's, and I say that, Mary Kay, even in a meeting or in a walkthrough, just our guys are getting exposed to a lot. Different, every day we're mixing and matching, if you will, giving guys different looks. I've told you before, it's not going to be a 25% down the middle type thing, or I guess down to fourth, but we're trying to expose the guys to different things.
What do you?
This is an all-encompassing evaluation, so we were evaluating the guys during phase 1, during phase 2, and now finally phase 3, you get to go against your defense in some settings where our quarterbacks and our offense get to go against them in 7-on-7 and some team.
And yet, those same critics can't stop watching. That's the paradox of Shedeur Sanders. The same qualities that people mock are the same qualities that make him a star. Then there's the NIL money. Shedeur Sanders is reportedly one of the highest earning college athletes in the entire country, with endorsement deals and sponsorships that rival even professional athletes. We're talking millions of dollars before he even steps foot into the NFL. That kind of wealth and attention naturally puts a target on his back, both from opposing defenses who want to humble him on the field, and from fans who resent what they perceive as entitlement. But let's be clear, Shedeur has earned those deals. He has the talent, the name recognition, and the marketing appeal that companies dream of.
That you're trying to sabotage Shedeur Sanders, especially after yesterday and not putting him in for the 2-minute.
Yeah, obviously, I don't concern myself with outside type of things, but I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better, and that's what we'll stay committed to, and that's what's important to me.
He kind of glitched out a little bit there, but hey, his answer is his answer. Why weren't you able to come up with a counter to the defense that the LA Rams are running so you can get your offense going? That's the question.
He's essentially a prototype for what the modern college quarterback looks like in the NIL era. Marketable, polarizing, and financially set for life before even signing an NFL contract.
The Cleveland Browns are making a huge mistake, and here's why. Shedeur Sanders just put up 2 TDs, 138 yards, scraps for practice reps, and they still haven't buried as QB4. Here are the Browns QBs in this order. No change. If I'm Shedeur, I'm not waiting behind those guys. Demand a trade out of Cleveland. Raiders and the Saints, he could walk in tomorrow and compete for QB1. Instead, the Browns just want him to sit. You've got a QB who's ready, and you're letting him just flag.
On top of all that, we can't ignore the shadow of Coach Prime. Deion Sanders isn't just Shedeur's father. He's also his coach, his promoter, and the mastermind behind the Colorado brand overhaul. Some say Shedeur benefits unfairly from nepotism, that if he wasn't Deion's son, he wouldn't get the same level of hype. But the reality is, Shedeur backs it up on the field, which silences much of that criticism. The father-son dynamic only adds to the intrigue, as we see Shedeur not only trying to win games, but also trying to live up to and carry on the legacy of one of the greatest athletes in history. Every throw he makes, every interview he gives, every celebration he does, it's all magnified by the fact that he's Primetime's son. And while that comes with extra pressure, Shedeur seems to thrive under it rather than shrink. Still, the controversies never stop. Whether it's rival players calling him out, analysts questioning his leadership, or fans mocking his off-field style, Shedeur Sanders is constantly in the middle of heated debates. But here's the truth. That's what makes him great for college football. He forces people to pay attention. He forces people to pick a side. Love him or hate him, you're watching, you're tweeting. Now let's talk about the bigger picture, because Shedeur Sanders is more than just a quarterback at Colorado. He's a cultural lightning rod. What he and Coach Prime have built in Boulder has created a level of attention that we rarely, if ever, see in college football outside of traditional powerhouses. ESPN, Fox, social media platforms, and even mainstream pop culture outlets have latched onto this story. That tells you just how impactful Shedeur Sanders has become. He's not just in the headlines for what he does on the field, he's in the headlines for what he represents. And what he represents is disruption. For decades, college football was dominated by a handful of blue blood programs with rich traditions and enormous fan bases. Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Georgia, the list goes on. For a long time, a school like Colorado wasn't even in the conversation. Yet here we are, with Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime flipping that script completely. They've turned Colorado into must-watch television, drawing ratings that rival NFL games at times. That kind of influence is unprecedented. And let's be clear, this isn't just about Coach Prime's charisma, though that certainly plays a role. This is about Shedeur Sanders going out there week after week and proving that he can carry the load. If he wasn't delivering on Saturdays, none of this attention would last. But he is delivering, and that's why the buzz continues to grow. Of course, with all this attention comes resentment. Fans of rival teams hate seeing Colorado get so much shine when their programs have been grinding for decades without the same recognition. Traditional analysts criticize Shedeur Sanders for being too flashy, too confident, too focused on branding. They call him spoiled, privileged, or cocky. But let's flip that perspective for a second. Isn't confidence exactly what you want from your quarterback? Isn't swagger part of what makes great players great? Think about the legends of the past. Tom Brady's fiery competitiveness, Joe Burrow's cool confidence, Cam Newton's electrifying celebrations. All of them had an aura that made people talk, made people react, made people care. Shedeur Sanders is no different. He just happens to be doing it in a new era, where social media amplifies everything tenfold. Every watch flash, every Instagram post, every sideline smirk, it all becomes a talking point. That's not a weakness, that's power. That's control of the narrative, and Shedeur has mastered it. Now we also have to consider the NFL conversation, because make no mistake, Shedeur Sanders is on track to become one of the most talked about prospects in his draft class. Scouts are already salivating over his arm talent, his decision-making, and his ability to handle pressure. Remember, this is a quarterback who has already faced relentless pass rushes behind one of the most vulnerable offensive lines in college football, and he still put up big numbers. Imagine what he could do with NFL-caliber protection. Some evaluators say he could be a top 10 pick. Others go even further and say top 5. But regardless of the exact number, one thing is clear. Shedeur Sanders is going to the NFL, and he's going to bring all of this attention with him. That means NFL teams aren't just drafting a quarterback. They're drafting a brand. They're drafting someone who can change the culture of their franchise overnight. Someone who will instantly draw cameras, sell jerseys, and create headlines. For some teams, that's a dream come true. For others, it's a challenge they may not be ready for. But either way, Shedeur Sanders is going to be a major storyline on Sundays, just as he is on Saturdays. What fascinates me most, though, is how polarizing he has become. Think about it. Most college quarterbacks, even great ones, don't inspire this level of debate. Yet Shedeur Sanders can't walk onto a field, can't post a picture, can't say a word without half the sports world reacting. Why? Because he challenges the norms. He challenges what people think a quarterback is supposed to look like, act like, and sound like. He doesn't fit neatly into the box that traditionalists want him to fit in. And that's exactly why he resonates so strongly with younger fans, with people who see him as authentic, as unapologetically himself. He's not trying to play a role to make critics happy. He's being Shedeur Sanders, and if you don't like it, that's your problem. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. There's still pressure. There's still a long way to go before Shedeur cements himself as one of the all-time greats in college football. He has to win more games. He has to lead Colorado to bigger stages, and eventually, he has to succeed in the NFL. The critics aren't wrong about that part. Flash only works if it's backed up by substance. But based on what we've seen so far, Shedeur has the substance. He has the arm, the poise, the toughness, and the drive. And when you combine that with the branding...
The reports are coming in. If Shedeur Sanders plays well in the preseason, he's going to get traded. And Nick Wright seems to know the team.
The Rams. The reason I said the Rams is they might have a need for spot starter this year, but also this could be Stafford's last year.
For better or for worse, no one in the history of the NFL has brought more attention and interest to preseason football.
Shedeur Sanders, go and make some waves, dude, and it's all football. It's not anything off the field, it's football.
Than Shedeur Sanders.
Watch the ratings for this Friday preseason game. All you did